Peace FM 104.3. Good to meet you.
That's fair.
Atik, aftermath of town hall meeting matters arising.
Yes.
NDC said Dr. Bawumia is engaging in statistical galamsey.
What does that mean?
I don't know. You tell me. And then near Vice President Kwewu Kumasi, when are you economics and statistics person? What did you make of that?
Tell me that's it. I think sir, Nidi Kaimamim Basu said this engagement is important. Essence say a new biana enya hukwain to go and look for data to understand your ecosystem. Engagements like this, Ebwa, Emma, one hour muntimi and qualify data no, because the truth is that it's difficult to come by data in this country. And near presentation or you know, for the most part, you know, data now no use, you know, some of them were updated data from near Finance Minister Abe presentee in his budget in 2019. No? Until it tells you where we stand. And Prempi, what we do is we wait until a supplementary budget and a review, mid-year review, no, ABBA, for us to know how we fared by the end of the fiscal year. The last fiscal year or the fiscal year before mid-year review, no. But we know, or to me, my some updated data, and I think it's very helpful. And Osabon Homodin, the presentation was self-explanatory. So for those who have not had the chance to study economics, you know, some of the concepts we were or can now like he puts them in brackets to explain, you know, things to do with primary balance. And you'll be an name say, when say Ghana for be budget deficit no money and a budget balance no money, they don't know say I dibisu or a primary balance, which is also just about your income, your expenditure. Just that this one you don't include your interest payments since until Oshadama niye easy for anybody at all OT to understand. Now whoever picks the script to read obeti here. Now some very interesting developments in that presentation. The way our structure and the presentation, Chairman, because there's, he structured his presentation and he brought facts to support the structure, and I think it was a smart one to do. What they came to meet, and truly to share issues now, as he structured them, no, the challenges they came to meet and how our challenges would have improved upon. So Ubeya analysis of the presentation now, it should be on the basis of what he said they came to meet and how they fixed them.
Okay.
Now, when you transport or import other nyamabia any you can say presentation no as a basis to do your analysis analysis needs so. But just some quick points. I'll just focus on a few. They inherited a troubled economy. That is true. Or my idea in many areas, but there are some areas that still deserve or require a lot of improvement. Now, Mamisha is here in free how we have improved our primary balance. Now, in the last quarter, the third quarter of 2019, Miyamushime, when the facts were presented, we had recorded a 0.3%, minus 0.3% primary balance. And I'm talking in terms of as a percentage of GDP. Miyamushime, because and in fact, even in 2019, from the second quarter, but in the third quarter, we recorded a negative 0.3 primary balance. But in his presentation, by the end of the fiscal year, the primary balance had improved and we ended, with a positive primary balance note, which for me is encouraging, which means that even though third quarter, or how Kakrebi by, but getting to the end, we were able to bounce back again. And, we recorded a balanced, you can say, primary. We had positive primary balance. Now, Lucius, we've spoken about it quite extensively, and the reason is because of its impact on economic growth. Now, Chairman, there are, several studies. Ebimo have concluded from their studies that there is a negative association between public debt and economic growth. Ebimo have found positive correlations and associations, but a developing country like Ghana, and me study kakribi, I looked at the impact of public debt on economic growth in heavily indebted poor countries, and I was testing a certain hypothesis, I refer to threshold hypothesis. It says so uka doswa like uko bob bisia up until it gets to a certain point. Nature say uka no edosu kodru level bia, that is when it begins to be negative. Ehona eshasiye eha wo economic growth no. Na ushe yen the progression of our public debt no. Utimu say na ekone nimpa like at a rate na alarming. And when I say public debt, I'm talking about public debt as a percentage of GDP. But aban we buy it will say in absolute terms ufa kano ube say it has grown from 122 billion to 214. That is including the public
122
sector.
to 214.
Yeah, to 214 over the cost we incurred in doing the public sector financial sector cleanup from 122 to 214. Ocean sana ebe o say KD edoso. But I always make the point say you understand public debt better in ratio terms. Nti ukano as a percentage of GDP, as a percentage of revenue. And now you can't just do public debt like public debt in isolation. Now sabi Mr. Mika. It won't make so much sense to you. And so to me me compared to the way me economy no enyi no. Me kanu enyin sen uti ase but uko faka no ye di 200,000 abeka ho ube hunu se kakraka but kan hunu se wo kanu enyin no na wo economy no so enyin. And I already made the point that public debt has some positive association also with economic growth up to a certain point. Until it could well be said kana ye boy no enu ne ma ye nyi in a way says you don't see the debt to GDP no eye kese no. Chairman, I don't know if I'm making sense to it for so ufa just the absolute figure of public debt now is misleading. And untina Dr. Bawumia is right to say the rate at which our public debt to GDP is slowing down.
And are you saying the MPP has performed well?
Well, my idea when it comes to, I'm not saying borrowing. I am not, a very strong advocate of addictive borrowing and excessive borrowing. But Usha, we are borrowing, but at the same time, the economy too is growing. Until your debt to GDP, is lesser compared
to how sustainable.
Chairman, and I remember a
okay.
Say, as your economy is growing now, Bob Bisiano. At some point, you need to pull the brakes because Ekodru level B, it is no longer going to be a source of economic growth, but it's going to be a source of negative economic growth. Until ye Bob Bisiano Kodru level B, I say ye tree break no kakra. Esan say, Usha says sika ye di tria interest no. Emma yentimi enye capital expenditure. The way I pese ye no. Until even though we've managed the debt fairly well, but I strongly suggest we should focus more on increasing domestic revenue. Na yenti the rate at which ye borrow, even though we are not in crisis situation yet. And I think we don't need to get closer to that point because in 2016 we were almost there. 72% of GDP, we were almost there. Odi to 2 year revenues what was that? People were saying we're likely to get back into hypocrisy anymore. They were right not because our debt to GDP had grown. I mean our debt to GDP rate any year, but debt to revenue na enye. But I think things are a bit better, but that should not be a basis for us to continue to do excessive borrowing. And America, we can, I mean, managing the debt so far, I think we've done fairly well, and we could do better when we begin to lessen or reduce the rate at which are borrowing, and that is the situation right now. The rate at which are now cano, I say, is slowed down, and I think we can slow it even further and concentrate more on raising more domestic revenue.
Are we better off?
Mintias
Say Oka say Osha.
No, like okay, comparatively.
Oh yeah, comparative analysis.
Oh yes.
Baby, I want a yes in baby MPP for free.
I would say so. When it comes to the management of the debt, and people are quick to say that, oh, and like I said, when you take the absolute numbers, say from 122 to 200 and you can say 14, no, it sounds big, but as a percentage of GDP, it is saying compared to Niana Ewokan, you know, and you don't do analysis of debt using absolute figures. It is, you always do ratio analysis. You take debt ratios to do the analysis. Maybe debt to revenue, debt to GDP. That's what you take to do the analysis. And say the analysis now. Would the to where you can say in 2016 debt to GDP. Now the to now. Of course, it's obvious. Say a chain. And if you even use the rebased one, it's a little over 60%. Well, when that is when you use the rebased GDP data, no, it's a little over 60%. But say here in 57%, which still shows some improvement. Now, but there are also other issues. He spoke about moving from taxation to production. Chairman, it may well be said taxes be yatitiso, but I don't see. You see that I strongly feel, say, there is stagnation of some policy philosophy. The policy philosophy is that they want to move, or they promise to move this country from taxation to production. But minyahu production krona we anticipated would happen with the reduction in taxation, no? Which means that it's either we wrongly targeted the tax basis, we're not using the kinds of taxes are able to production abasuno. So we target those ones that are harmless, then they are titiso. So you don't see the reflection in the cost of doing business per se. Everything producers are increasing more production. Because here, I don't see the kind of production I expect to see. You almost say 1D, 1F aba. But we still are complaining, say manufacturing is suffering. Which else you say a lot more needs to be done as far as meeting this policy philosophy of moving from taxation to production is concerned.
One of the biggest things manufacturers and our production people will tell you is Niama industry is a real guarantee through back interest rates and taxes.
Okay.
Just in Sinhua, loan, yeah. And a toa abino.
Yes.
A Jew so Niama mean we through a problem, Papa.
And these are the things that add to the cost of doing business. And because you may have reduced certain tax, the rates on certain tax basis, but near effective production to say near businessmen are complaining, maybe a young bedroom or so you cannot expect to see the kind of transmission now open from the reduction of in like that when you reduce taxes, it should be transmitted into an increase in production. The kinds of taxes are yatiti and yeah, nuna the cost of doing business now interest rates, but no credit second. Interest rates there at this point in time is a bit better because your policy rate now yatiti and policy rate is what determines how the banks compute their interest rates. Let's say a buffer it has a reflection in how commercial banks will charge their interest on loans in this annual. Until I know on that score a swati. But like I said,
a swati on paper and not in reality.
Chairman, in reality I'm unable to speak. But speaking to the data there, as compared to the interest rates are now here charging on loans in this annual in some few years ago. Because of the fact that there is a reduction in the discount rate, which is the policy rate, and more commercial rates is here so or more interest. So if it is on paper, then I think that there has to be a way of hastening the transmission mechanism. The way Bank of Ghana ate omo policy rate is na banks isu set omo interest rates no set me reflecting them. There was this concern some time ago about delays in the transmission. Say Bank of Ghana ti omo de no so a commercial banks no che ansa na omo de no omo ate so. But there has been some stability and predictability in the way into a kind of policy rate no esote no. I don't see why commercial banks at this point in time should in practice not be reducing interest rates. Now other issue are make one sem na yes na omoaba and say chairman who share, and this is you may call it pedestrian but it's real. Abai say Oman for humbe haromwa, especially in this part of our world, no, government would need to increase its spending. Who share over the last I know nampesa mika who the way I'm seeking. Yes, and I'm not saying government should just print money and push it there. Government should begin to pay for services rendered. Government must begin to do investment spending. One, Usha and Mika investment spending now. I'm talking largely about capital expenditure. Usha since 2017, we've contracted how much we spend, how much we use to do capital expenditure. And economists any opinion for kasa for home. Because when you do that, a massacre and nam kronomo. I mean, our inflation at this point is 7 BB. Well, which means that we've been able to manage inflation up to a certain point. So there shouldn't be the fear say, you 2 amount for car, there will be so much money in circulation and inflation across Rubium. I don't think that should be the major concern. Okay. Yeah, dear. Says here you came to meet a very troubled economy. The ground has everything is like the ground has been prepared. This is the time to let the
let the cash flow.
And I'm
Eric and
Peace FM 104.3. Good to meet Atik.